All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Rediscovering Me TV. All right. So, guys, you already know it's your girl, Nakia P. Evans. Super excited that you're here. Super excited that you're joining us. You can join us from Facebook. You can join us on Twitter. And you can also join us live on YouTube and also to my LinkedIn channel as well. All right. So, we're streaming a couple of places. We are broadcasting right now to 177 countries. Whoop, whoop. We are doing it. Okay. So, listen, guys, what I need you to do is make sure that you're sharing this video. Okay. Share this show because this is a show that you don't want to miss. Right. So, let me give you some background if this is your first time joining us. Again, I'm Nakia P. Evans, the host of Rediscovering Me TV, also the owner of Ruach Life Media. Ruach Life Media is an international internet radio and TV network. Okay. We are a network. We are broadcasting to 177 countries, and all of our shows are streamed to Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and also LinkedIn. All right. So we making this thing shake. Okay. So listen, Rediscovering Me TV is literally about rediscovering yourself, right? We go through life, we have certain situations that happen, traumatic events, no matter how small, how great, we are affected in some type of way. And in those times, sometimes we lose parts of us, right? Sometimes we got to find ourselves. We have to rediscover ourselves and get back to being authentically you. Okay. Now, one thing that I have learned in my process, baby, is that the old me is not the way that I should still be. You know what I'm saying? We miss those old parts. But the greatest thing about healing is understanding that you don't have to be like you was before. You miss it because you're comfortable with it, baby, but learning new things about yourself and becoming open to you, who you are as a woman, who you are as men, because I know I have men on here watching too. But listen, it is beautiful. Okay. So you know that on here we talk about different things as far as healing, overcoming trauma, and different things like this. Now, I for this topic today, your girl is not in this area. Okay, I've never been married before, but it is so awesome to see amazing women who find themselves after divorce, who reconnect to themselves, who rediscover themselves. You know what I'm saying? So tonight we're going to be talking about life after divorce. Again, your girl don't know too much on that. I ain't never been married, but you get to hear it up front and personal with a beautiful woman of God who's going to come on here. She's going to speak with us about her journey of life after divorce. So I'm going to bring on my special guest, Nichole Henderson, and I'm going to allow her to introduce herself. Nichole, love, how are you?
Hello, everybody. How are you this wonderful Thursday evening, Friday Eve, right? Thank you for having me, Nakia. I appreciate
Thank
you.
you. Thank you for coming, love. I greatly appreciate it. I'm excited for our conversation tonight.
Right.
Yes, go ahead and tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, as she stated, my name is Nichole Henderson. I am a single mother of four children. My son is 21, and my daughters are 18, 16, and 14. So I hope y'all praying for me, okay? And I am an author. I am a motivational speaker. I just launched a new business called Amazing Events. And basically, what that looks like is I will help you plan your event from start to finish, whether that's a graduation, whether that's retirement, whether that's a corporate event. I will contact your vendors. I'm your girl. I will make your event amazing. Okay. And also, I am a full time college student. I will be a social worker, God willing. So I got my hands in a lot. And I also have a podcast called Real Women, Real Issues, Real Stories. And that is a platform for women to address real issues. So it's about real issues concerning women. And my tagliner for that particular platform is there is a real you on the inside of you once you deal with your issues. And I think Nakia said it earlier, whether it's traumatic events, whether it's a divorce, whatever it is, we'll talk about it. We talk about those real issues that you may not necessarily hear in church. And I have a new movement called Hidden Gems. And Hidden Gems is empowerment for women as well as young ladies. We're getting ready to launch a teen summit for the month of March, and I'm super excited about it. I have four amazing ladies that's going to join me on this journey. It's new. We're going to be talking about relationship choices. We're going to be talking about college readiness. We're going to be talking about self love, self care. We're going to be talking about mental health. And I'm excited for the teens to come and just, hear those gems. It's called Dropping Those Gems with Hidden Gems. And I'm excited about that. So, as you can see, I'm super busy, but everything that I do is all things encouragement, all things inspiring, and all things just uplifting. So that's a little bit about me. And I don't take it for granted when someone asks me to speak on their platform. So again, Nakia, thank you for having me on Rediscovering TV. I really am grateful.
No problem, love. No problem. So listen, we're talking about something today. We're talking about something today. We're talking about life after divorce. And we've worked together just a little bit. Never, knew. I've heard you speak on it a little bit, but it was
Right.
never something that was more in detail as far as I knew. So I'm just gonna ask you a couple of things, and I'm gonna let you do the floor. I'm gonna let you hold the floor, okay? So,
Okay.
first of all, share with us. Now, you're talking about life after divorce. So you've been married and you've been divorced. Can you give us like some background information about that? About the marriage and why you decided to leave that situation, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. So basically, I got married very young. I was about 23 years old. I met my ex husband in like 2000. So we were super young. We both just had came out of our parents' homes. We both were very spoiled. Like I think he was like a mama's boy, and I was super spoiled. So trying to be married and having children, because by the time I got married, I had two children already, right? So trying to figure out life and still identify who you are, it was challenging. Um, but I was ready. And I think that what happened was he ended up getting like discouraged and ended up going back to what he was familiar to, which was the streets. And so he ended up getting addicted to drugs. And so a lot came with that, from domestic violence, the mental, all of that came. And I'm not saying that I'm innocent in it because I had a mouth. Okay. I may have not done some of the things he did, but I had a mouth and I was a fighter too. So we just gonna do what we do. And it was not healthy. It was toxic. My kids were younger, but there were instances of, domestic violence. And I was one that didn't really believe in divorce because I felt like God can just fix anything. And I know that the Bible talks about how God hates divorce. So I really fought like tooth and nail for my marriage because I just continued to pray that God would heal him and deliver him and all that good stuff. But then I just got tired of fighting. I got tired of the back and forth. I got tired of us being good for a couple of months. And it became a vicious cycle to where I'm like, okay, this same thing happened last year around the same time. And my friend was like, do you realize that you're in a cycle? And I didn't realize what cycles was until like you get somebody that come in your life and they just be like, this is what's going on in your life. You don't realize it because you're in it. And so once I start to realize that it was a vicious cycle and it was beyond me, and I can't choose somebody else's destiny or their choices, like that was his choice to do drugs. And I just didn't want to be a part of it anymore because it was too emotional. And I just decided to get a divorce. And I always tell people I didn't get a divorce because I didn't love my husband, because I loved him the day of the divorce. But I had to learn to love myself more. And what I was experiencing just wasn't God's idea of love. That's just how I feel like when it became what it did. There were moments where the marriage was great. Um, We were doing great, working and doing ministry and all of that good stuff. But then it became a point to where, okay, this is not what it's going to be, and it was a very hard decision because, I had 4 children and I had to figure out like how I'm going to do all this by myself. Um, but God, so that's just like a backlog of everything.
Okay, okay, I get that. I love what you said, how you kind of battled between the divorce and making it, trying to make it work.
Right.
Because of how things are, said and what the word says. I also love the fact that you made a decision for you. You know what I'm saying? A decision for you. And I say this, like I say all the time, your girl ain't married, she never been married. But from the outside, I can see, even when it comes to relationships, people who haven't even entered into that step of marriage, that sometimes they are weighted down by certain expectations to
Hmm.
keep going, to make it work. And sometimes it doesn't, or it may not be good for us. I'm not talking about relationships for me, but it may not be good. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with walking away if it's not good for you. So
Absolutely.
I totally love that. So once you said that you loved him, even still, the day of the divorce, you had 4 kids, you're trying to figure out how all of this is going to work. So share with us from the time of the divorce, like how did you figure out your path, and how did that divorce look like for you, like that journey of, leaving that part of you behind?
Well, like I said, it was hard. It's almost like when you're in high school and you're so ready to graduate, right? You're like, oh my God, I'm ready to get this over with. And you're excited. And the next day you wake up like, what's next? And that's how I felt. I was ready to get it over with. I was excited about getting the divorce. And I was just like, please sign these papers so I can go on with my life. And the next day, I was so depressed. I didn't want to get out of the bed. I was like, oh my God, what next? Like, what is my life going to look like from here? Because you have to understand, I met him in like 2000. We were engaged in 2003. We kind of grew up together, if that makes sense, because we were super young when we met. I was like 18, 19. So we were very young, had children, and so I was like, what am I going to do next? What's the next step in my life? And it took a lot of looking within myself. I had to forgive myself for allowing myself, first of all, to go through domestic violence, the mental abuse. I had to look within Nichole and say, well, why did you allow this to happen? So I had to start slowly, taking baby steps. I had to start over from scratch, if that makes sense. I had to go live with someone for a couple of months. Then I got my own place. And guess what? I let him come back. I went through all of that, not having a place to stay, and I allowed him to come back into my life after I got back solid. Right? Just didn't make any sense, but holding on, just praying that things would change. And it did for a little bit, but it resulted back to the same old cycle. But anyway, I just began to connect with some other women because I felt like, and I don't know if you felt like it, when you're in the middle of a storm or if you're in the middle of anything in your life, you feel like you're the only person that's going through it. And that's what your mind will tell you. But when you talk to other people, that's just not the case. It was other women that had experienced what I had experienced. And I just started doing things in the community. I started doing things that I love to do. And that was, volunteering in the community. And my children started dancing, and we were always just doing stuff, positive things. I started, planning events and doing empowering events for women. And I just felt so empowered. Now, every day wasn't easy, but it was like, wow, this actually feels great. I don't have to argue with anyone. I don't have to worry about where they're at, what they're doing, or any of that. I just began to discover who I was because I lost myself in the marriage completely. I was just focused on being a mom and being a wife. And I totally forgot what my dreams and aspirations and goals were, as if I didn't have any. It was all about him and the kids. So I just went on this journey and I lost weight. And, I just, like I said, I connected with some amazing people um, within the community. I started my support group out of my home in 2008. And it was amazing. Like, I had women come to my house, and then I started doing the conference calls, and now it's a podcast. So it's just been a journey. And I'm still single to this day, and I'm just still discovering who I am. Um, and it's been challenging. It's not easy, raising children alone. But I can tell you the peace that I have surpasses all of that. So I hope I answered your question.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. And you're right. When we're in the middle of a storm, you know what I'm saying? When we feel like we have hit rock bottom, we feel like there's no way to go. We do feel like there's nobody else that can understand how we feel, or there's nobody else that's going through what we are going through.
Right.
At times, it's like sometimes all we have to do is just open our mouth and talk, you know what I'm saying? And you never know. For example, I'll say this, love. I haven't been married, right? But I've been in to me, it was almost like a marriage, the closest that I've ever gotten.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I've never lived with a guy before. I went and did that, and that was
Hmm.
domestic violence. That
Wow.
that is crushing within itself.
It is.
And I thought that nobody would be able to understand how I felt, this healing process, this journey of rediscovering me. And as soon as I started talking, I learned that there were other women out here who are
Hmm.
hurting and going through as
Hmm.
well. And it's like,
Hmm.
wow, I'm not in this thing by myself. There's other people out here that can relate, not maybe
Absolutely.
not every detail, but they can relate to what we're going through. I think it's powerful, love, that you took your pain and what you went through. You know what I'm saying? Like you took that and you started seeing that other women was hurting and going through the same thing. You started a support group. You started doing things, and now you have this amazing podcast that's empowering women all over the place on what you're doing. And I think that that's absolutely amazing. Now,
Thank
on
you.
your journey, you're welcome. Now, on your journey of rediscovering yourself, you mentioned that this was no hard task. I mean, no easy task. Like
No,
this was not easy. What
no.
were some things that you personally did for you as far as to get back to yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually as well?
Okay. One of the things I did was, I was very intentional with prayer. Just talked to God about it. I told God how angry I was. I was very honest with Him. And He already knew how I felt anyway. So, I prayed more. Um, and I also was very intentional about different places that I would go. I would always make sure that I surrounded myself around positive women, positivity. And, I would attend like women conferences, networking events, and I would be around all these women that were just doing amazing things, and it would just inspire me. And I was like, yeah, I've been through a divorce, but that's not who I am. That does not define me. That is an event that took place in my life, but that is not who I am. And so I always say I will make pain pay. Everything I went through, I will make pain pay for it. So now my stride in life is everything that I went through, I'm going to help the next woman. And so that's what I do. Just let women know that you don't have to stay in a situation that's not healthy. You don't have to stay in a situation that is not adding to your life, but taken away from your life. I want to teach women about their value and their purpose. And that's what Hidden Gems is all about. It's about, I think it's a scripture that talks about it being like a treasure in this earthen vessel. That's the scripture that it's founded off of. And we have these gifts and these talents and this untapped potential, But it's like when we get in a relationship, you can lose yourself. And I promised myself I would never do that again because that's what happened. And being so young and being married, I didn't really have an identity anyway. And I'm 40 now and I'm learning more of what my purpose is. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I have it all figured out because I'll be lying. What I can tell you is I feel like I'm a little bit closer to where I'm supposed to be in life. And so, I pray for him. I pray for that he get delivered, and that he do what he needs to do. But that is behind me now, and now I use it because it's a scripture that talks about, everything bad that happens. I think it's Romans 8 and 28. God will turn around and make it good. So if I hadn't have went through everything that I went through, I wouldn't have the platforms that I have. I wouldn't be able to relate to the women like I'm able to relate to them, the single mothers, the women that have been through domestic violence in any capacity, and the divorced women, even married women. So I can just relate to people. I think you talked about being able to relate. So I now thank God for it. Of course, when I was going through it, no. And I'm actually writing a book. It's called Raining After the Storm. And so it's interesting. She was talking about storms earlier. So I was like, she's all in my book. But yeah,
That's awesome. That's awesome. So now you got a book that you're working on. I love it. I love it. I'm just gonna say this, love, for you to be able to relate to women on different levels is amazing. And I get it. At during the storm, during that time, we don't feel like it's amazing.
mm-mm,
We don't we and I can say this for myself, people come at me at certain things, I'm like, I don't want to hear that. Because we're in our process, we're in our storm. And sometimes when we're in our storm, we got so many things that's going on, mentally, emotionally, all of that. And sometimes we just feel like we're out there. But I love that you are relating to women who have been divorced, who, are searching for their identity, who have been in, domestic violence. That is amazing. And we need more women to come out and speak. I'm just getting there. I'm getting there. I'm trying. But we need people to speak more on these things because all of these things play a part. You know what I'm saying? And
right.
and also when it comes to, I don't like to call them curses, but breaking this generational cycle. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Breaking it because I had to learn myself. I was raised in a domestic violence household, right? And I've been in two domestic relationships. And it's like, okay, girl, like when you gonna get it together? This is not for you. This is not healthy. You need to do some work on the inside. You need to get some work done so that you do not continue to attract that same audience, or you do not continue to go to these certain people. And it was a process. I love that you're speaking. I love that you're helping women because, girl, we need it. We need it. And I love it. So thank you for what you're doing. Um, do you have any words that you want to share with someone who may be in a domestic violence situation or who may be on the verge of divorce or who have may just went through a divorce? Is there any encouragement or anything that you would like to say to that person?
Yes, absolutely. I think that when we begin to truly love ourselves, anything that doesn't look like love, you will start to reject it. So it starts with you. It starts with you first. You have to learn to love yourself because a lot of women don't love themselves, whether it's, I don't like my lips, I don't like this, I don't like that. You have to embrace who you are totally. Love yourself without the lashes, without the wigs, without the makeup. Just love yourself. And I remember I went to a women's shelter and I did a devotional with the ladies there. And I had mirrors on every table. And some of the women, and when one of my friends, we did this too, could not look in the mirror because they didn't like what they saw. And I told them, some of them were crying. I said, write down everything that you see in this mirror. So I think that it starts with you loving yourself because once you begin to do that, everything changes. And I believe when God began to show me who I was in Him, I became a force to be reckoned with. Like, you're not going to talk to me like that. You're not going to treat me like that. So I think that's where it starts. And if you are in the middle or in domestic violence, just pray your way out of it, because you're not going to wake up one day and say, I'm leaving. But I feel like everybody gets to a breaking point. Everybody gets to that point where they say, you know what? Enough is enough. And prayerfully, it's not too late, because I have lost friends due to domestic violence. So get out before it's too late. Find someone you can talk to. If you don't feel that it's a family member that you can talk to or a friend, try to get like a mentor, a therapist, or someone that can just walk you through the steps that you need to take to get out of it. And also, and people always say it's okay to have therapists in Jesus. It is. People, it's a stigma on mental health, but it's nothing wrong with having a therapist. Now, I didn't have a therapist, but I did have women in my life that had been through it, and we just helped each other through it. And I look at some of these women now, and they are thriving in life, and they're helping other women, and it can happen. And I always hear this pastor, I think it's Pastor Wendell Jones, that he always say, you can change your mind, you can change your life. So change your mindset about you, about yourself. And once you do that, your whole life can change. With it's just a mindset. When you stay in things like domestic violence, it's a mindset. It's, oh, I don't love myself. It's something inside of you. So that's why I said start with you.
That's good. That's good. I like that. And you're right. It totally starts with ourselves. And I will say that I think that that within itself can be one of the scariest things ever, because we got to come
Absolutely.
with self. And
Absolutely.
at the end of the day, one thing that I've learned is this right here. This is what I got. This is who I am. This is all I got.
Hmm.
I gotta
Hmm.
love me. You know what I'm saying? Because if not, people will come and take advantage. People will
Yes.
take and take, and you got to learn how to set boundaries, love yourself, and know what's not good for you. I'm working on that. I love that you said that it's totally cool to have Jesus and a therapist. I'm all big on therapy. Your girl got a therapist every Wednesday. So y'all
Right.
nothing wrong with therapy, okay? But sometimes it's needed. And you're right, there's a huge stigma between mental health and then when it comes to the church, because some people think that there's only one way. And I'd be like, well, I'm sorry, I'm just one of those difficult children of God. Okay. I'm one of them difficult ones. I need a little more I need a little bit more work. So for
I
me,
be seeing your posts. No, they be real, and that's what people need. That's what people don't understand. They need real. They need people that's going to be open. They need people that's going to be transparent. I think people walk around with this mask on. I
mhm,
don't mind telling my stuff. You can tell it all you want, but I don't mind telling. I don't mind sharing my story, because we overcome by the words of our testimony.
mhm,
So I'm not afraid to share my story. I was one that didn't want to share my story, especially with domestic violence, because my family was crazy. And I'm like, oh, it didn't happen every day. But if I can give you accounts of this happening or that happening, then it was domestic violence, and that's just what it is.
right.
And so, you make all these excuses. Well, maybe if I didn't say that, then it wouldn't have happened. Or if I didn't do this, this wouldn't happen. No, 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 no. That's not how this works. So you're right. It's okay to have a therapist, because mentally it can definitely do something to you mentally.
Absolutely, absolutely. That was my journey. Physical abuse did a lot to me. It damaged me to a point where a girl was about to take herself on out of here. Like I attempted, and it was just to that point. Um, but the reason why I think that it's so important for us to share our stories is because other women are there too.
Right.
They can feel the same. When you say I don't have a problem with telling my story, all I can do is just smile, because what people don't realize is that we have to come face to face with this. And if I
That's
can
right.
come face to face with this and deal with this right here, me, me, if I can deal with me, then baby, I don't have a problem with sharing my story. And I don't have a problem with sharing because it's like I had to come face to face with me and be like, you know what, kid, this is not cool. This is not good. Girl, you need some help. Or this is what being honest and being real with ourselves is important. And another thing, loving yourself, being kind to yourself, and being gentle with ourselves because we do like to blame ourselves. What if I didn't do this or that wouldn't have happened? And sometimes the truth is maybe you didn't have to say anything and it still could have happened. So I greatly appreciate that. So listen, love, tell us. I know you told us in the beginning, but go ahead and tell some more people what you got going on before we close this out. Let them know about your business, your upcoming book, and everything that you have going on.
And I want to say to you before I get into all of that, because I did talk to you, I think you were in the middle of domestic violence, and I can just see the strength. I can hear the strength, and I can tell that you're getting back to yourself. It's obvious and it's evident.
Thank you. I appreciate that, love.
I can see it. I can see
I
it.
appreciate
I
that.
don't know you like that, but I can just tell. I can just tell.
And I do appreciate that. I really do. Every day ain't a good day. Your girl was struggling this morning, but I'm grateful for the journey. I am. And I tell people all the time, this fight is personal because I gotta fight for me. You know what I'm saying? And I want other women to feel the same. At the end of the day, you gotta fight for yourself. You can't be anything for anybody else if you first can't be what you need for you. So I
Absolutely.
appreciate that, Lord. Thank you. Mhm.
Yes, yes. So, again, my name is Nichole Henderson. I have a podcast called Real Women, Real Issues, Real Stories. I'm on Spotify. I just started, so check me out. And also, I am launching a team mentorship. I already do women empowerment, but it's called Hidden Gems. And what that looks like is just pulling the gifts out. Allowing women to accept that treasure that's within them that's so sacred. Um, just untapped gifts, helping pull that out. And I'm going to be working with teen girls. Y'all pray for me, ages 13 and 17. And we're going to be launching a teen summit in the month of March. And as I stated, we're going to be covering so many different topics from relationship choices because there's so many teen girls that deal with domestic violence. I did not know that. And they look at it as love. Okay. I have teen girls and they tell me everything about things their friends go through, and it just breaks my heart. So, we're going to be talking about mental health, college readiness, all of that good stuff, trending topics as it relates to teen girls. And my book is called Raining After the Storm. My book should have been written a long time ago, but I was like, I'm done with all that. I don't want to talk about what I went through, but I have to because when you're writing, you relive some of that stuff that you think you didn't suppress and forgot about. So I put the book down for a little bit, but now I'm writing again, and I'm also going to be a part of another anthology this spring. So I'm excited about this next season. I just feel like it's my time, not only my time, but my turn. So that's a little bit about me. And again, I don't take it lightly that someone asked me to share just a piece of my story because there's so much more to it. But I just thank you for allowing me to be on this platform tonight. And I'm grateful, very grateful.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. No problem. I'm grateful that you decided to come and join us. That you decided to share a piece of you with us. I greatly appreciate it, love. Your story is powerful. It really is. I've been seeing your posts and what you're doing as well, and you're doing it. You are absolutely doing it, and being
Thank you.
an inspiration to so many women because you never know. One thing I love about social media is that you can post your heart out, but you never know. You never know who's on the outside looking in. They may not like it, they may not comment, but somewhere your words are speaking to people, and then we got to keep pushing. And I love how you said that your book is supposed to be out, but sometimes you got to put it down. Ooh, girl, I feel you on that one. I totally
Yes,
feel you.
ma'am.
I do, because we do relive those situations when we're sharing. We do relive all of that. So I'm excited for you. I'm excited for your book. I'm excited for what you're doing with these teen girls, because that is needed.
It
Helping
is.
teens before they get into our adults, to show them how to make good decisions in relationships and their mental health and all of that. That right there, that's amazing, because we need that.
Thank
Our teen
you.
girls need it. I got an 18-year-old, and I'd be like, oh, Lord, help me, help me.
My 18-year-old too. I'm like, girl.
I'd be like,
And I
help
understand she's, going into adulthood. She's
me.
probably like, I'm grown, I'm legal, but no, ma'am.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. No,
There's
no.
still boundaries.
That it is. When you're living in this household, yes, it is. There are still boundaries.
Yes.
But I totally feel you, love, because I only got one, but that 18-year-old, she'll do it. Yes, Lord. So I applaud anybody that has more than
Right.
one, because
Yes.
girl be freaking out over here with just one. So I applaud all
Yes.
the beautiful mothers that have more than one. So again, love, I appreciate you so very much. Again, thank you, thank you,
You're
thank you for
welcome.
coming and sharing with us. I'm going to also take your information, and I'm going to be posting it below this video. So thank you again, and I greatly appreciate you for joining us.
Thank you so much for
No
having me.
problem. No problem. All right, guys. So listen up. That was amazing. Okay. Life after divorce. These are things that we need to talk about. Okay. These are things that a lot of us need to sit down and listen to, because life can be a whole bunch of all kind of stuff. Okay. It can totally be a whole bunch of things. And y'all already know me. My one and biggest thing is learning how to heal and be authentically you. That's the most important thing. Okay. So listen, if you need some assistance, get it. Ain't nothing wrong with getting some therapy. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay. But listen, also make sure you join my Facebook group, Rediscovering Me Community. We have an amazing book club in there. We have amazing women. We talk about encouragement, empowerment, all of those different types of things. So make sure you come on in and join the community. Okay. Again, meet me here next Thursday, because we're going to have another guest and have some more in-depth conversations on these topics that we're talking about. So if you're looking for a place to receive some healing, some knowledge, some, I need you to come on over here, because this is what we got for you. All right. Listen, guys, make sure you follow us on all social media, Ruach Life Media, just in case you don't know how to put it out. There it is for you. Okay. Brock Life Media. We are on all social medias except for TikTok. You just follow me on TikTok, because that's something else. But just follow me on TikTok. But all social medias, Brock Life Media, where we have amazing guests, amazing shows, and also amazing music. All right. So listen, guys, I love you. I appreciate y'all. I will see you next week. Hugs and kisses. Have a great Thursday.